Can you give me your best Irish or English impression of this dish?
Well, good day to you, mates. What we'll be doing today is making a cottage pie.
That's Australian.
Hip, hip, cheerio, my mate. We're going to go out there to the Barney Stone and mash some taters and make some shepherd pie.
Okay, we'll just go with that.
Hey, thank y'all for stopping by camp on a beautiful day it is. And what are we talking about today? Cottage pie versus shepherd's pie, which I am going to turn into a New Mexico style cowboy cottage pie. Now, traditionally, shepherd's pie was fixed with ground lamb and it had green peas in it. And
now, why we get a lot of people asking if you'll make lamb.
I have cooked lamb for people. I'm talking New Zealand leg of lamb, lamb chops, lollipops, whole lamb on a smoker, whole lamb in the ground. And people love it. I just never acquired a taste for lamb, and my mother made me eat green peas when I was little. Thank you, Mama, for not beating on me, but I ain't gonna eat no more green peas, and I'm probably not gonna eat no lambs. Now, the only difference between a shepherd's pie and a cottage pie is shepherd pie is lamb, cottage pie is beef. And I'm all about me some beef. I just love me some beef without green peas. Shan was singing that song Frank Sinatra used to sing, "Smoke Gets in My Eyes." I don't know who sang it, folks, I really don't. Frank just come to mind. 1 pound, 80-20 ground beef. We're gonna put her in there and we're just gonna brown it. Go ahead and chop it up and we'll get it seasoned. Now I'm gonna use our original seasoning. If you don't have that, you can use salt, pepper, seasoning of your choice. Y'all ever been cooking a meal and you had some guests that wasn't going to show up and you're thinking that pot's way too big now? I did, and I didn't even have no guests coming. So I'm going to transfer it over here in this 10-inch oven. That way we have a little better presentation. So bear with me. We cook this meat till it browned. If you're using a ground beef that's 80-20 or something and you get a lot more grease out of it than what I'm getting, because I'm going to hardly have any in here, drain that grease. Do we even have any culinary crew here at this time?
Yeah, there's one behind you.
What you been doing?
There's one laying in the sunshine. Okay, clap, clap.
I feel great. You know what time it is? It's time to grate. That's why I feel great, Shan. First to hit the grater, be the onion. Then we're gonna have some celery. Then we're gonna have some carrots. And then you won't find this in regular cottage pie, you won't, but we're gonna put us a little bell pepper in there, grate it right down in there. And Lou, I don't know if you can barely see it over there, all you could see was a tail bobbing. She's either got a lizard, a snake, or a flat bear under that rock. Well, we'll get this back on the fire because there is a lot of moisture in them vegetables really when you add to this, especially that onion. And we want to cook that moisture out of it a little. So we're going to get this all blended in, bring it back to a sort of a medium-high simmer just to make sure that everything is tender in here and there's no more moisture left. Probably take you about maybe 4 to 5 minutes. Well, we have about cooked all the moisture out of them veggies we have. Not saying that we're cooking them till they're so dry and hard you can't chew them. You'll understand what I'm talking about. You just won't see that excess of moisture that they have created. Make you a little well right there in the middle. We're going to add about, I'd say 2 tablespoons, which is probably about that much, of mater paste is what I like to call it. We don't want it to clump all up. We just want to keep mixing it right there in the middle of that to where we can get it all spread out, and then we'll incorporate it in that meat. We're going to add us some of the W sauce. I'd say about a tablespoon or 2. Give it a mixing. Let this cook and simmer some more. To go with that, we're going to add us some beef broth. Last things to go in, red wine. And it don't take much, about
Now, what kind of red wine?
This says marquee red, not a sweet red. I'm talking like more of a drier red. So we're just gonna add about that much right there. Give it a stir. We'll let this cook a little bit. But the last thing that, wait a minute. How many of y'all watch Justin Wilson? Raise your hand. The forest is plumb full of people. Oh, they left, they camera shy. Every time Justin would cook when I was watching with Grandma, he'd add a little wine, then he'd say, we better check that. It'll work. We're gonna add 4 garlic cloves. They're always the last thing that goes in because we don't want to give the chance of burning them on something on a hot fire. So load your gun up. You know, about 5 years ago, we did a rendition of this recipe itself. We were at 400,000 subscribers, and we used frozen corn. Now remember when I put New Mexico in this and told you we was gonna make it that way? We're gonna add some hominy because I really like the way it tastes. And you can use yellow or white. There's no difference in the taste at all, but I really just love yellow. It's just like cornbread. I'd rather have yellow cornbread as white. So we're gonna let this cook for about, I'd say 1.5 to 2 minutes. I'll meet y'all at the choke box. Shen, look there. Folks, we mashed some taters up. Could you not share a little bit? I mean, Duke, look, he's starving. Now, take you some russet potatoes. Go ahead and put them in a little pot of water and get them to...
I prefer Yukon, but that's just me.
Okay, either one, folks. Just make sure the tater is not boiled plumb away. Just take a knife, touch that tater. If it sort of splits in half, you're in pretty good shape. Pour them into a colander, drain all that water off of them. Then I like to put them back in the same bowl they come out of, put them on really low heat, get all that steam and everything off of them because that's what's going to make them potatoes even better. And then we'll go to work and then you end up with something like this. And that's what I'm after. So when we're making this, and it's called a pie, you got to have a top pie crust. Now it's not going to be like a biscuit pie crust. It's going to be made out of mashed potatoes. It is. So we really need for them to stand up just a little more and be present and really be the star of the show. So we're going to add a little bit of cream to them. I'd say about that much. We're going to add 2 egg yolks. And these is bright and yellow. They is fresh home-grown chickens, they are. And this is really going to give it a little fluff too when they get to baking. We're going to add some cheese. I have some pepper jack and some cheddar. I want you to whoop that about a little to make that incorporated. And this cheese is a binding agent too, because when we add them eggs and you add that cream to it, you're giving it a little more moisture. So this cheese is going to stiffen things back up. It is too. So we're just going to go ahead and add it all. And something that I dearly love too is green chili mashed potatoes. So we're going to put them in there as well. But I really love to use from the Fresh Chili Company. They come out of the Hatch Valley. Them chilies are some of the best in the world. When you get this mixed up really well and you think things is blended, first we're going to have this test. I need for you to pick it up and will it stay on the spoon. Now, if that seems a little runny to you, and it does to me, we've got an ingredient up here that we can use to thicken this just a little, and that is cornstarch. Won't take much. I just want to get them to where they sort of stand up just a little, because that'll thicken it up just a tad.
Could you use flour?
You could use flour, but I think cornstarch works better to me. I'd say we're pretty close now because it's coming off in a ball, and that's what I'm after. Well, it's time to assemble the pie. It is. But first, we got to season it. I don't want you just to dump this on there. Get your spoon and let's put it on there because we want to try to make sure that we stay pretty even all the way around. How many out there watching everywhere across the world have finished concrete? That guy down there by the rock says yes. That one by your pickup says yes. Well, we need to break out that trowel right now. We're going to use one of our spatulas. And I want you just to smooth it around. And it's just like working concrete, except it's better. You can eat this. Concrete hard on you. You can do this with a spoon or a fork. I just want you to place it in there, mash it just a little, pull it up to where it gives it a little whip on top, because that's going to help us with our presentation. They'll have some little points on them. So we're going to add what? More cheese. I'm sorry Shan was getting on to me for putting too much cheese in it, but I think the folks in Wisconsin will understand, and we're going to add some Parmesan, because I like things to be Parmy. I do. If you're doing this in the house, you have preheated that oven to 400 degrees. You have put this in a casserole dish, slide it in there, and you're gonna cook it for about 20 to 25 minutes. Me, I'm outside. I'm gonna cook it in this Dutch oven with some good coals right there on that trivet. I'll meet you over there. This is really a great dish for beginners to do if you're just starting out cooking in a Dutch oven, because remember, the meat was done, the potatoes was done. We're just really putting it all together and browning things on top, get that cheese all melted. Pretty heavy coals on top, I'd say pretty light around the bottom. It's not much wind today, so we won't have to rotate. And you ask yourself, what is rotate? Are we going to do this right here? No. It's when you take the lid and you move it one way, and then you take the bottom and it's moved the other. It's equaling out any hot spots you might have from too many coals. There's a lot of things that'll help you in Dutch oven cooking. One, a really good lid lifter, but also a really good trivet that has adjustable legs. We have 3-inch or 5-inch. That way it gets you up off the ground, lets you manage your heat a little better, but we're looking for the potatoes to brown a little on top, and they'll be just set up just a little, sort of like a pie crust, but not that hard. Now, when you're cooking something in a Dutch oven and you want to check what's inside, I always ask you to make sure that them coals is not overlapping the top of that lid, so when you lift it up, them ashes ain't falling in there. And I usually do this by this way. Just give it a little shake around here like this. Make sure there's no coals hanging in there. Now, you need to check your heat in a Dutch oven because there's no temperature knob on there or something that's going to read out on the thermometer, so I do it this way. Put your hand down there, hand width, a hand tall away from it. If you can leave it there more than 5 seconds, it's probably not hot enough. This is plenty hot. It's not going to take it that long, but be sure you check the sides, top, everywhere. You want to keep you some good heat, and make sure you have plenty of coals. You don't want to run out. Well, I'm going to check this, and if that is bubbling through the top of this, I'm going to take it off that bottom heat, because that's cast iron. It holds heat well. It's going to keep on cooking, and now we're just going to try to just keep browning them potatoes. So let me have a look in here and see. Yeah, it is bubbling up through them potatoes. So we're going to take it off the bottom, set it right here. That's very unlevel, it is. I feel like we're cooking on the side of a hill, Shan. We'll lay it right here and see. We're going to check the heat on the top of this to make sure that everything's still good and hot. And I think we could add some fresh to it. So I'm going to dump this off, get us some fresh. We'll end up cooking a little quicker. Pretty dish it is, makes great presentation. You brown them taters up and let it cool just a little bit more. But let me walk you back through one thing you might not have realized. When you're cooking something in a shallow Dutch oven like this and you're pretty close to the top of the lid, you can see we're like maybe 1.25 inches. Be sure you keep an eye on it, because it's so easy to burn something like this. And you just want to let, you see me touch my hand to it, you just want it to sort of feel like a sponge. You're not trying to break through it. But I'm really thinking that maybe this will probably be the best shepherd pie I've ever made, because I put them green chilies and everything in there with it. But I mean, I do the shopping cart, put some groceries in there, but I make sure I got me some green chilies in there. Woo, woo. That's some fine dining. Pardon me, I'm gonna have me another one. You know, folks, the thing that really stands out to me really is the green chilies in the first bite that you get on top. But then as you get to that really good ground beef that's in there, that's got the carrots and the celery and the onion with it, it just all blends together. It just makes...
So what's your favorite part?
My favorite part is the mashed potatoes with all the cheese on top with the green chilies, but you get that meat that's right under it. It makes your taste buds happy. This is true comfort food. I mean, you can have this anytime. You take this recipe, recipes were always like a road map to me. You can add things to them, take things away, but you put it out there, you make it for your family. Let me know what y'all think about it, because hey, y'all are all family to me and Shannon. We appreciate each and every one of you always tuning in and watching our videos. But it is with great pride, honor, and privilege that I tip my hat to all our servicemen and women, all the veterans that have kept that old flag a-flying up there. They do. Rest of you get on in here close, because I'm going to give you a big old hug, because that's what you do to people you love. God bless you, each and every one, and I'll see you down the Cottage Pie Cowboy Trail.